Good evening, folks. This is Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on Sunday, February 25th at 10:38 p.m. Mountain Time 2018. Yes, significant flooding threat through Sunday morning, and it has come true. This is all across North America. Severe weather pummeling southern U.S. kills at least 5 people. Strong winds kill a Kentucky woman. 5 people have been killed from the torrential rain and powerful tornadoes laying waste to the south and central U.S. over the weekend. Several weather ripped homes apart. Severe weather ripped homes apart, sending debris through the air and flooding roadways. While the storm stretched from Texas to Canada, it brought devastation particularly to Kentucky, Arkansas, and Tennessee. Trapped drivers were rescued throughout the region as cars were thrown around the torrential gusts, and heavy flooding presented new dangers in the coming days. Let's go to the Weather Ready Nation map, where we can check out what's actually happening across the country. Most of the storm warnings are down. There's flooding in all of these green river areas. And that's going to continue because there's going to be rain that's coming back here into the center of the Craton. Heavy rain that began last week, continued through the weekend, has brought widespread flooding to a large swath of central U.S. from the Gulf Coast to the Great Lakes. Numerous river systems will remain in flood stage well into the work week. Another round of rainfall is forecast across the mid to lower Mississippi Valley Tuesday into Wednesday, which will exacerbate the ongoing flood threats. Now, in the meantime, we have red flag warnings through 5 states here with high winds and potential fires breaking out. And we have another 5 states in the Northwest here that are under winter storm warning, including blizzard warnings up here in Montana, and we'll get to that. What I want to note is there's winter storm warnings down here in Southern California, all the way down to San Diego. Heads up, Willie. It must feel cold down there. Let's talk about the snow and blowing snow into Monday and the blizzard warnings up here. Blowing and drifting snow in Montana. What to expect? Snow and blowing snow. Strong wind gusts to 65 mile per hour on the Rocky Mountain front. 50 north central Montana. 40 mile per hour in the southwest. Impacts: significant reductions in visibility and blowing snow. That's what gives you a blizzard warning. Difficult to impossible to travel due to drifting of snow and icing. Please check road conditions before traveling. Thank God we're ambassadors. You'd never know up there in Montana. Stay home. Here's the update I'm going to give you. It's valid from Monday, February 26th through Wednesday. As a deep cyclone near the Great Lakes lifts through eastern Canada, snow and freezing rain is deposited to its east with a cold air mass over parts of northern New York and interior New England this afternoon and evening, where winter weather advisories are currently in effect. Heads up, New England. Heavy rain, flash flooding possible near Louisiana today, tonight, and near northern Mississippi on Tuesday. Heavy snow possible over parts of the Cascades, northern Rockies, and Sierras. Snow and freezing rain possible over northern New England. You'll get links to all these wonderful things. Fatal tornado hits Kentucky as severe weather. Widespread flooding continues across the U.S. This is coming from the Watchers. You'll get links to this. You can see that major system that goes from Canada to Texas there. And then behind it here, we have snows in the Great Lakes region. Guys, if you don't know, the Watchers just put up a Patreon page. So if you like the work they do over here, why don't you kick up $1 or something and hook them up. You just click over here, tired of seeing ads, and you can donate to the Watchers. Just an awesome source for the earth changes that we've been watching. They report on 90% all related to the grand solar minimum up there. So thank you to the Watchers. Rain, hail, snow in the forecast. Heads up. Let's do our first heads up for the week. Oh. Packers, Texans. No one's watching that game. Gorgeous sunset. Another chilly, snowy week is in store for Humboldt County. There's a storm moving through tonight into tomorrow that could mean snow in the high passes, says the National Weather Service Eureka meteorologist Kathleen Lewis. There is also small hail possible near the coast. Small hail. Where have I heard that before? I'll leave you links. Pittsburgh region breaks the century-old February rainfall record. Now, guys, we've been breaking records in this current weather pattern back to the centennial minimum. And if you notice back here in 1900 during cycle 14, it's a pretty low period, just like cycle 24 here. So some of these 1920 records are repeating the cycle 16, 15 pattern during the minimum here, which is very reminiscent of this cycle, and also going back to cycle 14 here. But the Pittsburgh region is totally fluxed, breaking the century-old February rainfall record, which is why the Ohio River is currently about to hit 60 feet on Tuesday. As of Sunday morning, the region has amassed 6.97 inches of rainfall in February based on the readings at Pittsburgh International Airport, which beats the old record of 6.52 inches by a half an inch set way back in 1887. We're going to be talking about 1887 because not only does it rain a lot in 1887, but during the 11-12 solar minimum, there are major volcanic eruptions that go off, especially Bagana. And Bagana just erupted today. Imagine that. I know correlation is not causation, but so at some point, they'll start to listen to us because everything we say is coming true. And it's not because we are looking into a crystal ball. It's because we're using science. And that's a boom in claymation. February 2018, wettest on record, might have something to do with the cosmic ray increase. As we descend into the eddy minimum, cosmic rays are going up. Here I put a simple up, less and more arrow so you can follow. And it's more, all the way to 2100. And based on the work that came out of CERN and the billions of dollars that they rob from your taxes, they know what's happening. And it's happening right here. Here's the new record. Thank you, CERN, the Cloud Project. Thank you, Spensmark. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't know what's going on. But apparently Al Gore knows it's global warming. And now there's a new donut location they just found east of Michigan, and cops have been mining this hole for days. This guy, he's got like pounds of donuts. Look at the size of him. He is literally, that's the donut hole. Anyway, we'll leave you links. Snow totals for Minnesota. They're looking pretty steep. Alberta man dies after exposure to extreme weather conditions. Will you please just say freezing and cold? Can you obfuscate from the truth? The extreme weather conditions that led to this man's death were very extreme. He froze. You're frauds. Snow totals, record-breaking snowfall at the Minneapolis airport. Thanks, Al Gore. Whew. Wouldn't know what we'd do without you. Digging out of snow in Anoka. I wonder if they smoke up in Anoka. The second snowstorm in 3 days brought record snowfall to Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. Saturday night into Sunday morning, the National Weather Service recorded 6 inches of new snowfall, setting a new record for the date of February 24th. The previous record in February 24th of 4.8 inches in 2007. More snow totals. Grand Marais, 13. Isante, 8. Princeton, 7.4. Little Falls, 7.3. So on and so forth. Minnesota wakes up to heavy snow and records. Plans to cancel train services across Norfolk and Suffolk due to extreme weather conditions. This is the bombogenesis, Arctic Siberian nightmare, the beast from the east, whatever they call it. It's Putin coming home to play, and he's coming right through Central Europe. It could be a very snowy start to the week. Weather warnings are in place for heavy snow for Monday, and temperatures are not expected to get above freezing for the majority of the week. The Met Desk is warning up to 30 centimeters of snow to fall. The next 24 hours will be fine today. But snow is coming tonight with strengthening winds, and the hailstorm beast from the east is not going to let up until next Thursday. And that's a heads up. Woo! Doink. So here you got a zonal flow from the south. It's making things look nice, and then quickly this shite will hit the fan. He's going to have to put on a heavier shirt than that Italian piece of silk. Because look at the beast from the east here, slowly penetrating across the aisles. Oh my gosh, it's so eerie. This is Monday by 5 p.m. The beast from the east is just going to be tickling at your doorstep. Average temperature across the British Isles are -1. With the cooler temperatures falling towards London. And this is only going to get colder as we progress into the work week for y'all in the UK. Heads up to the Queen Mother. Now, when I was a little boy, I grew up right here north of Manchester in a little town called Shetzel. And that's how we do that. UK Weather Met Office warns of snow, strandings, and mobile phone outages as the beast from the east looms. So make sure you have a preparedness pack in your car, UK. You could be stuck on the roadways like those Japanese people with record snows coming in as we descend into the grand solar minimum. Weather warnings with extreme cold snap on the way, going as far south as Cork, West Cork. They're expecting 5 to 10 degrees below normal for the entire week, including severe frosts in West Cork. Record snowfall hitting Japan in the north again. The snow depth in Horikane in northern Japan's Hokkaido has been measured at 3.124 meters, setting an all-time record, beating the previous of 3.1 meters set back in 1970, while the locals say that the huge amounts of snow is making life difficult. Although impressive, this amount of snow isn't a record for the country as a whole. After a particularly heavy snowstorm in February 1927, a staggering 11.82 meters was reported at Mount Ibunuki in Honshu. This is not only a record for Japan, but was also a global record. By comparison, the greatest snow depth recorded in the U.S. is 11.45 meters in Tamarack, California in March of 1911. And we're headed right back, repeating the same cycle. Cycle 14. These are the records we're breaking in this arena. And we're right there again. So we're going to be looking for this to repeat in the next 2 years. 11.45 meters in Tamarack, California. Heads up, Tamarack, California. That's my forecast for winter 2019-2020. 11.45 meters in Tamarack, California. Now, thankfully, the weather in Hokkaido is expected to stay dry over the next few days, so more snow records are not likely to be set, but they've already broken the all-time record in that area. Extreme cold and high winds in Slovenia next week. And now clearly all across Europe, it's going to be record-breaking for the entire week. So we're going to have a lot on our plates to be covering for the next 5 days. Let's talk about the freak hailstorm hitting Saudi city of Medina, destroying everything. Ben Davidson over at Suspicious Observer covered this morning. And they're calling this marble size hail. That I don't know any marbles that big. That looks like a hail inside a hail and the size of a tennis ball. That's a hell of a hail. A hail of a hell of a hail. A hail of a hail. And I just give you a little sampling of what the Saudis do when it hails. Holy hail! They park under a bridge. And they look at the damage. They're like, holy hell. Assalamu alaikum. That's a lot of hail. This guy's just driving right through the desert or something. End times, as some say. But we know better. It's the grand solar minimum. There is no such thing as end times. Guys, humans have been on the planet for hundreds of thousands of years, and we've made it through 5, if not 7 major glaciations, and we'll make it through this one if you keep listening to what we say. Now, 10 reportedly dead after a 7.6 magnitude earthquake hits Papua New Guinea. The earlier video I put up was corrupted because they just don't want me to make these videos, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't have time to fix it. I have other things to do. But a huge magnitude, 7.6 magnitude earthquake hit Hela and Southern Highlands last night. Although communications networks into the 2 provinces have been cut off, reports through satellite communication by Hela Provincial Administrator William Bondo revealed that 10 people had been killed while thousands of properties have been destroyed. And the information is just trickling in. So that's an unfortunate thing. Kick a prayer up to the people in Papua New Guinea. This is just the beginning. And this is not a major quake. They're going to experience 8.5s in the next decade, as well as major volcanic eruptions. Now here's the observatory explaining the earthquake coming from Loop. The Port Moresby Geophysical Observatory says that the morning's earthquake occurred as a result of the faults movements in the Papuan Fold and Thrust Belt, which runs parallel to the axial mountains of the PNG. Here they're showing you the fault lines. So I'll leave you links to this geologic explanation. And we'll quick take a look at the uptick. We have this motion moving laterally here. There's a 5.6 aftershock kicking off on the major fault there in Kokopo, Papua New Guinea here at 35 kilometers of depth, which is deeper and not would be expected. We would be expecting the aftershocks to be in the 10-kilometer range here. So this might not be finished, and we'll be watching this. But we should take special note real quick. And this major 3.0 in Yellowstone, once they get a 3.0, you want to take notes. So you come over here, look at all magnitude, and we're going to see a nice stacking. So this is definite shifting of the crust. Very shallow here. So the upper crust is moving in a big way, which is probably some magmatic movement or filling in this area. And we want to be watching this. This is a pretty significant uptick for just the last 20 hours with several major quakes, 2.2, 2.1, 2.2, 3.0. Another 2.2. So we'll be watching that. Let's take a look at what the space weather is telling us. This southern coronal hole should be sending us a plasma stream any moment in the next 12 hours. Here's our solar minimum sun at low A range where it should be, completely flat. Beep. And you can see the plasma density and the solar wind speed dropping off with a little perturbation here in the last hour or so. Let's quick refresh it to see if anything exciting is happening. Oh, we're about to be dropping off. The magnetometer is going down. And so is the solar wind. This is an interesting event here. Phi angle shifting. So this is the coronal hole string probably meeting us. We're still at KP2. But it looks like we're going to dip down here during this event. Maybe into radiation storm levels. We'll watch this. But there's still a potential for major uptick. A major earthquake happening in the next few hours. So as soon as the space weather gets here, that will wane. But let's talk about Bagana volcano, volcanic ash advisory today. The volcano is reportedly erupting. This is a very remote area, and they can only get satellite data. So that's the picture coming out from Bagana. Also, Dukono and Mayon erupting in the last 24 hours. Due to that cosmic ray uptick that we talked about yesterday. Let's talk about Bagana. Very little is known about this. It's a massive symmetrical 1,750-mile high lava cone, largely constructed of accumulations of viscous andesite lava. And there's a double volcano actually on this island. There's a major synchrotron here. This is Bagana gassing. There's some more stratocones here. 1, 2, 3. This could be a large caldera, but this is a significant one. But this has got quite an eruptive history. I'll leave you links to everything here. This is coming from the Smithsonian. It's a lava cone in the volcanic region of Melanesia in Australia, Papua New Guinea. Based on analysis and satellite imagery, the 7th of February to the 13th of February, there were some ash plumes, but we have a major event happening just in the last 24 hours. It hasn't been updated. But if we come to the eruptive history, you can see that there is some major correlation here. There's the 1883 date we were just looking at. So we're setting flooding records back to 1883. We're setting snow records back to 1883. And Bagana erupted at VEI 3 back in 1883. It also has historic VEI 4 eruption in 1952. I bet you didn't know about that. Let's talk about the inconvenient truth. The mainstream's not telling you the truth, but Diamond is, which is why I started the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. I'm not connected to any corporation. I did not get into the mainstream of science. I stayed away and became an activist, and now it's my time to tell the public about what all the other scientists out there are too scared to tell you. And I get dozens of letters from academics, scientists, engineers, professionals across the world thanking me for what I'm doing and telling me not to tell anyone that they sent me an email. And that's just the truth of the matter, folks. I really love what I'm doing. It might kill me tomorrow, but I'm living every day to the peak of my potential to survive and thrive in the future. And I'm living in the present. And if you want to live in the present, join us on Wednesday, February 28th with Robert Felix for the first edition of The Inconvenient Truth, prepping for the Grand Solar Minimum on Revolution Radio. You can find it at freedomslips.com, and you can join us every Wednesday night in Studio A, which is at 10 p.m. on the East Coast and 7 p.m. on the West Coast. And you know how to do the math in between, guys. It's going to be an amazing conversation every week. Let's talk about Ice Age Now, Not by Fire, by Ice. Came out in 97 by Robert Felix, our first guest on the program. And a lot of you worldwide and in the U.S. have been asking me how to get his books. Do not search the internet for his books. The cheapest you can find Not by Fire, by Ice used is $19 on Thrift Books. And if you want a new copy, it's $29. But if you come to his website right here at iceagenow.info at the store, I just bought one of each of these delivered for $32. You buy 2 books delivered, it's $32. And that way it won't go away. But he also has the e-edition. It's $9. You can have it instantly. And you just print it out on your printer. So very inexpensive. The price was just reduced for the DVD Ice Age Now. So come over here. I'll leave you links to the Ice Age Now store, and you can buy a copy of Not by Fire but by Ice, Magnetic Reversals for $32 delivered. And we'll be talking to Robert Felix on Wednesday night from 10 to 12 East Coast, Revolution Radio Studio A. And that is a heads up. Guys, I hope you got something out of the video. Volcanoes like Bagana, they's be exploding, but we have explanations here. Each of these major drop-offs into Grand Solar Minimum is associated with major volcanic eruptions. Rabaul, Papua New Guinea, erupts. The sun lacked brightness. Now, this is according to the historical record, and it's right here. During the second solar cycle of the drop-down into the Grand Solar Minimum, which is either right where we are for the next 3 years or where we'll be in 10 years. But the result, when the volcano in Papua New Guinea goes off, is that the sun will lack brightness. So the time is now to start preparing. Be safe, everybody.